It's not that Loyd Austin had prostate cancer. It's that he lied about it. And now The View, they're not sure if how they're gonna cover for this. Thank you guys for joining. I'm Doug in Exile. This is where the happy patriots are. I'm glad you could be here with us.
This guy, Loyd Austin, who is the United States Secretary of Defense, okay, that's who he is. He calls the shots in the military, this guy. And he's in the Biden administration. He's been in the hospital since last week because of complications from cancer treatment. But he didn't tell anyone.
The Secretary of Defense, this is the main guy in charge of the Pentagon. And we're involved in military conflicts around the world. So they're going to get into all of this. He has prostate cancer. I pray for him, even though he's on the other side of every issue. That's number one. I just want to underline that before we move on, because I'm going to eviscerate him and say he should be fired otherwise. Let's go.
In the White House, he didn't even tell the president. He's in the hospital. I take a day off with COVID. It's all over the place.
We get fake COVID and it's all over the place.
That's right. So now Republicans are outraged about it. Okay, watch.
We are thankful that nothing so serious occurred during this incapacity of the secretary.
This is Republicans' outrage. They're going, it is unfortunate that he is experiencing
this breakdown in command and this breakdown in communication. It threatened our country's safety.
You look really upset that your country's safety was threatened. I'd be screaming. Guys, our country's safety was threatened. Our country has little girls in cribs and beds, little babies and families. We're threatened because of this. You can raise your voice.
For him to be unable to execute his duties and not tell the National Security Council or the president, I mean, you just can't even make this stuff up. I mean, who would even think that you shouldn't do that?
Okay, so Loyd Austin admitted he could have done a better job telling the public, and he'll commit to doing better going forward. But does it scare you that in the middle of all this, our military just waged a massive bomb attack on Yemen?
Biden crew launched an attack on Yemen, which is not an act of war, but almost is. I mean, it could get us involved with one. And this guy is in a bed in a hospital. It's his responsibility. You have no idea just incompetence this is. And Biden bragged about having the most transparent, honest.
And he made that order from his hospital bed.
From the bed.
Sonny Hostin's always trying to cover for them. He made it from the hospital bed. Was he delirious? Was he jacked up on painkillers? Did he know what he was doing?
Men are very antsy when it comes to their prostate. You've had it in your family. I've had it in my family.
When it comes to
yes, because they equate it.
And Joy Behar isn't buying it. I'm not buying it either. She's turned this, Anna Navarro turns this into a victimhood advocacy group where we can all go arm in arm and turn this into a support group. That's not the issue. The issue is America was compromised.
They equate it to their masculinity.
Yeah. Yes.
And so for men have an issue. There's a stigma around the prostate issue. That it is what it is.
Oh.
I have gone through this in my family. I can tell you, my husband had one.
Is this The View or is this Dr. Phil? Because suddenly I feel like I just got into a therapy group with Anna Navarro. We're suddenly talking about men's prostate problems. Look, all of us know, my dad, everybody had, every man, if you get old enough, you start dealing with prostate problems. This is not like getting AIDS. This is not like even experiencing depression.
There is a stunning lack of transparency here, though.
Absolutely.
I was the Pentagon press secretary. There was never a time I didn't physically know where the Secretary of Defense was. And this is happening, by the way, he oversees 1.3 million active duty U.S. troops deployed in over 100 countries across the world.
1.3 million active duty troops that had no leader while he was in the hospital, out. That means if he was under anesthesia getting his prostate work done, no one was in charge. Not only was Biden not driving the car, but Loyd Austin wasn't driving the car. Your military had no head.
During this time, since October 17th, actually, I should say, there have been 130 strikes on U.S. forces in Iraq and Syria. Most people forget we still have U.S. troops in Iraq and Syria.
Yeah.
There's a war waging between Israel and Hamas.
Right.
Ukraine is at war with Russia. The fact that he was not available to take a 3 a.m. call, which every Secretary of Defense has had to do at some time, that is stunning to me. I would be so angry if I were Jake Sullivan or if I were the president.
They're not angry because they're too busy covering it up for political reasons. Now we're going to get into this real quick. Listen to Joy saying which Democrats were upset.
Don't you think the
Everything going
Democrats?
on
Why
in
aren't the
Democrats?
Democrats?
The Democrats aren't mad. They're doing politics, guys. They don't care if your country is compromised.
My legal hat on. Legally, he did not have to disclose his medical records as HIPAA laws, which protect patient health info without the patient's consent or knowledge. However, this is just a common sense thing. He should have said it.
Oh, it's the lawyer showed up. Thanks for the defense, Sonny. Now, normally, there's those Hippocratic Oath, HIPAA requirements of secrecy, right, about your medical records. It was Loyd Austin who demanded all of the military men prove that they were vaccinated. And if they weren't, and if they tried to hide behind their HIPAA secrecy, he said their files had to be exposed and they were dismissed from the military. Therefore, this guy does not get the HIPAA secrecy rights on this one. You can't play it both ways. You lost your right to privacy, especially when you demanded 1.3 million servicemen expose their HIPAA secrecy over their whether they got vaccinated or not. This guy needs to be fired, or he needs to step down and just take the early retirement guy. You'll be fine. Is this not another example of Biden corruption, secrecy, duplicitousness, hypocrisy? I'm Doug in Exile.